I'm going to start by just putting this in some context. I'm going to go through the goals of the program offering, talk a little bit more about the eligibility and the requirements, and then what the award will be like, what we're looking for in the proposals, and then the timeline. At the end, I'm going to go through any questions that are asked throughout the webinar. Feel free to type in questions as you go, and of course you can always ask questions later on by emailing me. This webinar will be recorded and posted on the website. Questions and answers will also be posted on the website. So, for those of you who don't know much about Math CSE, our mission is to promote the economic development of the clean energy industry in Massachusetts. We are funded by ratepayer dollars, which means that we do our best to make sure we're spending it in the wisest possible manner and that we leverage resources where possible. As you can see on the screen, we serve a diverse set of clean energy stakeholders. The renewable energy generation division focuses on supporting existing technologies. Innovation and industry support, which this program is part of, provides support for emerging technologies and new businesses, and we also have an investments division. I wanted to also give you sort of an overview of other ways in which Math CSE helps clean energy companies, particularly early stage clean energy companies. I'm not going to go through everything on this list, but as you can see, we do provide a wide range of support. If you work with startups, they may be interested in this. This could help them. And you can feel free to contact me at any time if you have questions. Of course, all of this is also up on our website. So the program we're talking about today, the IncubateMass program, is anticipated to have 2 program offerings this year. The first one that's released right now is the Operation and Management Cost program, and there will also in the future be a program focusing on short-term educational series and events. Just to talk a little bit about that one first, this is still in development. I don't have a lot of information for you right now, but that will be aimed at things like panels and series, maybe matchmaking events or networking events, things that help clean energy entrepreneurs get to the next level in their business. The offering we're talking about today, however, is for operation and management costs. It has a total budget of $250,000, and this budget will need to be divided between 1 to 3 awards. Because we've got a limited budget, we're looking for the most responsive proposals, and we're expecting this offering to be competitive. The anticipated contract term will be for 1 year. At this stage, I do anticipate that there will be a continuation of this program. It's currently in a pilot phase, so we will need to sort of reevaluate that later on the track. But if this does continue, I would also anticipate that the budget will decrease. The goals of this program offering. We are seeking proposals from incubators that support clean energy and clean tech startups and that address a gap in clean energy startup support and which are building collaborations to address that gap. And in particular, the goals are to build commercially viable clean energy businesses by reducing the barriers to entry and to enable entrepreneurs to build growth companies. Talk a little bit about the eligibility now. We're looking for applicants who are capable of providing the business incubation services. They need to be somewhere in Massachusetts. It doesn't matter where in Massachusetts. However, we would expect them to be collaborating with other clean energy incubators in Massachusetts, commercialization partners, and also other resources that assist startups in the Commonwealth. The applicants must have the facilities and the ability to provide on-site resources. However, you may, in addition, provide business assistance to people who are not physically located in your business incubator. A little bit about the management now. Applicants must have a proven management team with the necessary experience and growth to effectively groom clean energy and clean tech startups into high growth companies. You must have programs and services that cater specifically to nurturing clean energy and clean tech startups. And you must have a sustainable business model based on industry-recognized best practices. To talk a little bit more about that final point, industry-recognized best practices, in the program offering I've given some links to external resources which talk a little bit more about that, so that would be a good place to check out for there. In terms of the credible business plan, what we're looking for there is a diversity of resources that are assisting in funding your programs, or if not, a clear plan to gain those resources. So for the applicants that are selected, they will be required to support the clean energy startups through recruiting, selecting and tracking their client companies, providing business assistance services and shared resources, and developing networks and partnerships strategically. This is not a full list. There's more in the program offering, and indeed there's more possible things that you could be doing for clean energy startups, but this really is sort of the core of what would be expected of an incubator under this program. To talk a little bit about the award itself now. The award will be split up into two buckets of money. Up to 85% of the award will be linked to incubator deliverables, and 15% must be linked to client company milestones. Applicants will propose both the deliverables and the milestones. So to talk about that a little more, the deliverables will be things that are controllable by the incubator manager. So they're going to be things like general management tasks, the purchase of equipment, setting up of procedures, documents, things like that. In amongst this, it must include reporting to Math CSE about the progress of the client companies and about the various programs being run by the incubator, and also the receipt of the cost share under the program. The 15% of the award linked to client company milestones is linked to client company achievements. This can be any number of things, whether it be a client company graduating, client companies increasing jobs by a certain amount, a client company getting an SBIR or an ARPA-E award, a client company making a strategic partnership. We're deliberately leaving these somewhat open because we want to make sure that you who know your client companies best can come up with the best goals for your client companies. In terms of the client company milestones, what you should be looking for is something that is achievable, but is also genuinely would be a milestone and an achievement, something that would be a fantastic year, but not something that's almost an impossible dream. So about the proposal, we've tried to make it as simple as possible. We're looking for a cover letter, and then a funding proposal summary table and a business plan and budget. Both of those, templates for both of those you can find in the program offering documents. Cost share letters of commitment, and then an authorized applicant signature and acceptance form, which is just standard. We do require a 10% cash cost share. That can be from a number of different people. More cash cost share is definitely welcome, and in-kind cost share is also welcome. However, we do require 10% of the cost share to be cash. So now to talk about the proposal itself. If you're putting it together, I do urge you to look carefully at the program offering documents. We did our very best to make it as clear as possible what it is we're looking for, and to make sure you address as closely as you can what is in the program offering documents. But to give you a general overview, we're looking for what gap in the market is your incubator serving, and how is your incubator working to close this gap. So this could be in any number of ways. You may focus on a particular technology. You might have a relationship with a local test bed. You might have perhaps a couple of angel investors on your board. You might have a relationship with a local strategic partner. Basically, we're looking for what are you doing that's special that will really help propel these clean energy startups to the next level. In addition, how do you fit in with the broader network of support for clean energy startups? Massachusetts is blessed with having a lot going on in this space. We've got accelerator programs, pitch competitions, there's a lot of test beds, there's universities that are focused on this. We want to make sure that we're not funding duplication of these programs, but rather people who connect into these programs, who allow people to access these programs, and who fill a gap within these programs to sort of make sure that we're giving a unified whole. What services do you offer to your clients, and how are you addressing their barriers to growth? This will depend on the incubator and depend on the sort of clients that you're serving, but what is it that you're adding to the value of these companies? How do you propose to spend the award money? This is obviously an operation and management costs solicitation, so we are aware that some of it will just be day-to-day things, but as far as possible, draw a line between what it is you're proposing to do with the money and how this is going to directly help a clean energy company. So above all, how does your plan benefit clean energy startups? Is what we're looking for. I've put up here the timeline of the program offering. Couple of things to note. The deadline for written questions is Wednesday, July 3. You can send those through to my email, or if you need to call, you can do so. I'm hoping to provide the filing question and answers up on the website July 8th, but I will also be doing that on an ongoing basis. There's already some up there if you have a look. The proposals are due Friday, July 12th at 4 p.m. and we're expecting to announce the awardees in August. So with that, I'm going to turn to the questions that have been asked throughout the webinar. Yeah. All right. Sorry about the delay. We're struggling to find the questions. There we go. All right. So, all right. We have a question here, can funding be specifically awarded to provide staffing to be responsive to reporting requirements? That's a good question. I guess I would wonder, is the question about having somebody who only does reporting? My hope is that the reporting is not a burdensome part of the program. If part of that person's duty is providing the reports, that would seem fine. Another question, can funding be specifically allocated for developing best practices programs and processes? And if so, would this come under staff costs? I need to get back to you about what budget it would fall under. But yes, developing programs is absolutely what we're looking for under this award. I'm just looking through to see if there are any other questions. Can cost share monies include those that have already been committed, received by the incubator, or must they be new monies? This is an excellent question, and one I think I need to get back to you on. I guess for the person who is interested in that question, or it would be helpful to have a little more context as to what the background of the money is. So I'm thinking, for example, if 6 months ago you received, let's say, $5,000 as a sponsorship award, no. If, however, you happen to have received money more recently, or if it's an ongoing thing, potentially. Again, if you could get back to me with more details, that would be helpful. Are accelerator programs without a physical facility eligible to apply for this program? No. I think it's a short answer. If an accelerator program is in helping with an incubator in some way, potentially, I'd need to have more details. But the goal of this program is to provide fundings for people who are providing physical resources for early stage companies. Okay. So I believe that is all the questions that were asked during the webinar. Just give you all another minute or so to put any in that you might have. Question on operational plans. How do you handle day-to-day operations? Who does what? Do you have plans for growth? Describe event history and future event plans. What is meant by event here? So that seems to be a couple of questions. One thing I'd say is if your plans include events, they can, of course, be included as part of this program offering. However, I would alert you to the fact that there is another program offering that will be specifically targeted at events. So it might make sense to put those sorts of asks towards that program. It's up to you in that case. In terms of handling day-to-day operations and who does what, that would be the call of the incubator manager or the incubator director. And indeed, plans for growth within the incubator would also be the role of the incubator manager. Okay, what is the performance period and how would you anticipate dispersing the awards? So the performance period, I can't give you exact dates at this point. I'm hoping that we will have a decision in August. So in that case, it will probably be August to August will be the contract. It will be a year-long contract. How do we anticipate dispersing the awards? This is a competitive process. We're going to get applications in. We're going to review the applications both internally, and we're going to have some external people review the applications as well. And we're going to then select the applications that seem to provide the most value for clean energy startups in Massachusetts.
Sally, the person might be also asking over the course of the year-long contract how many payments. So maybe.
I see. I don't know if you heard Martha, but she said that perhaps you would be wondering about how it would be paid out. So that would be probably paid out based on, there's two different payment buckets, as you know. The milestone payments for the client companies, that would be paid out as a client achieves that milestone, so up to 15%. So any client it can be, it doesn't have to be a specific client, but say you said, I'm going to put $100 every time a client gets an ARPA-E award, just as an example. If you had 3 clients get an ARPA-E award and you provided proof of that, then we would pay that money then. In terms of the ongoing costs, the operation and management costs, that would be paid out probably based on reporting. All right. Again, just looking through. See if there are any other questions. There's a question here about interns. and whether funding under this can be allocated to interns? That's a good question. I think that's something I'll need to get back to you on.
You might want to qualify that not if they're also getting funding.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Martha is correct. If an intern is already being funded under the Math CSE internship program, no. But in terms of additional interns, I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that. Okay. So it looks as if we've answered all the questions that were asked during the webinar at this point. Again, please contact me in writing or give me a call if that's easier, and I can answer further questions. Anybody who asked questions during this webinar, for those of you who I said I'd get back to you, I will get back to you as soon as I can. For those of you I just gave a verbal answer to, I will put that in writing, hopefully send you an email, and I'll certainly be putting the questions and answers up on the website so you can look at them again at your leisure. So I guess, again, if you have any questions, please send them through. And with that, I'm going to conclude the webinar. Thank you very much.